And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gym of Crypto, episode 1120. Today is Friday, July 21st, 2023, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 10-ish. And today's top stories. See, Bitcoin Bollinger Bands echo move that ended in 40% January gains. Bitcoin no longer asset of choice for criminals, former elliptic crypto advisor says. U.S. Justice Department to double its crypto team target ransomware crimes. Hackers compromise Uniswap founder's Twitter account to promote scam. And Coin Center and Blockchain Association slam unworkable U.S. Senate DeFi bill. And of course, today is FBF Bitcoin Friday. So, of course, I'll be putting that link in the chat. I do not have a full day today, unfortunately. I'm stuck to a 30-minute window, but I'm going to put that link in the chat right now so that if anybody wants to call in, get something off their chest that I got wrong, you got some type of smoke, or if you just want to hype your favorite shit coin, feel free to call in and do it for a full 2 minutes. All right, we got enough time for like 2 minutes, a couple minutes per person. So let's make that happen just in case anybody wants to get in and get out. Don't say you didn't have a chance or opportunity. All right, let's go ahead and jump to these prices today. Bitcoin is coming in not so hot, $29,788.26 down 0.43%. Ethereum's at $1,887, down 1.21%. Ripple at 77 cents, down 3.92%. Oh man, that party's getting that parade's getting rained on early, huh? 7 Cardano at 31 cents, down 0.62%. Dogecoin at number 8 at 7 cents, up 8%. And number 10, Tron and Polygon keep going at it for that number 10 spot. Tron wanted it back today. They're at 8 cents, up 1.46%. So those are your prices. Trending is Arkham again. Batman's in the house, 5.71% up. If you remember, they just had an airdrop, so people are going crazy. Barn Bridge down 0.16. Where did I hear a Barn Bridge from as a recent? I can't remember. And then Whitebit token up 0.16. Fear and Greed Index, we're at a 55, so 1 point less than yesterday again. All right to me, we're at a 50-50 time in crypto and Bitcoin right now, where I feel that we still could possibly dip. I know that timeline is shortening as we get closer to the halving, but it's still a possibility. Dominance, Bitcoin at 48.3%, Ethereum at 18.9% as well. All right. Quickly, some shout outs out there. Want to give some shout outs. What's going on? Honey Developer, BK Crypto, Alipio, and Cario. Will 45. Hey, shout out to Cario Laura, too. I got to get with you. I saw your email. I'm going to get back to you. But they have a new show out as well, and would love to have them on doing replays on our channel. So hopefully we can get Cario in here too. We love all the different content. Smitty Farms, Jerron, Larry, let's see. And Cario said Gary and Gisler stunk up that press club this Monday. Wouldn't directly ask any questions, kept trying to distract away from crypto to AI with every response. I wouldn't answer any questions, I'm assuming. Yeah, I kind of figured that when you were saying Gary Gensler. I'm like, listen, if the guy didn't answer Congress and senators, he's definitely not answering but people who aren't giving him money, right? So I kind of saw that coming, but that's unfortunate, especially since he's a leader. Now, kind of going along with the price of Bitcoin, top story of the day, not necessarily the story again, it's kind of going along with the price. Bitcoin Bollinger Bands echo move that ended in 40% January gain. So if you ever done any of our coaching, masterclass, anything, you know, for me personally, I'm like, while I understand the strength of TA, technical analysis, and while I have used it in the past for sure, I am not just like one of those people who's just like just strictly TA crazy, right? I don't care that much about TA only because of the fundamental things in the market that keep changing. Gary Gensler says this is security one day, this isn't security. A judge makes this ruling. This project gets hacked, or this project turns out to be a fraud. All those things TA cannot predict. Those are event-based things that will affect projects. So for me, I think we're still in a space where fundamental analysis matters the most, at least until the markets start to mature. So when I see some of the TA guidelines and things come out, I'm like, well, the storyline and the narrative makes sense, but it's always dependent on fundamentals. So really quick, this story says Bitcoin price should be put in a strong reaction now that Bitcoin Bollinger Bands are at their most compact since the start of 2023. So they're saying Bitcoin is lining up a burst of volatility that could rival its 40% January gains. On-chain data suggests. In the latest edition of his weekly newsletter, the week on-chain analytics firm Glassnode revealed the tightest Bollinger Bands since the start of 2023. So, um, as it says here, Bitcoin price has acted in a tight range for an entire month, using 30,000 as a focal point for sideways behavior. However, popular analyst Asko Kabar says it's putting both bears and bulls to the test. Seems like Bitcoin USD is exhausting many traders' patience, he summarized on July 21st. That is usually the condition you see before strong moves. Not sure about the direction, though. I will stick with my well-defined boundaries. I know that increased volatility is around the corner. Capture the directional move. So you can see them doing, seeing this is the actual bull flag happening here. They're charting everything out. According to Bollinger behavior, that move should come sooner rather than later. The classic volatility indicator is currently printing a telltale sign that the days of range-bound Bitcoin price action are numbered. Bollinger Bands use standard deviation around a simple moving average to determine when an asset's price is due a shift in trend. On Bitcoin USD, its upper and lower bands are unusually close together at present, more compact, in fact, than at any time since Bitcoin began its 2023 upside. So again, what's interesting about this TA, and if you actually just listen to the show this week, for example, like I've essentially been saying this without the TA because I'm getting this from a fundamental analysis. Again, they're saying that, hey, this is as compact as it's been since the beginning of January. We're expecting some type of volatility, and he doesn't know if it's going to go up or down, bull or bear, right? I've essentially been saying the same thing. We've been stuck in this deadlock sideways pattern. I don't think we should have been here this early, but now it's becoming a point of time where, since we're getting closer to the halving, even if we shouldn't have been here, it might make sense for us to be here regardless. So with that being said, yes, I think we could go either direction, but it's not going to be because of any TA or regular market moves. I think it's going to be because of another event. The next time Gary Gensler comes out and makes the big claim, Ethereum is or isn't a security, or BlackRock ETFs, right? At least some of these events we've been talking about, I think the events are what's going to cause the breakout in either direction. If we don't have an event in the next, say, 3 to 6 months, I think we'll casually begin the price point, the fiat price point will casually begin to go down until about that 3 to 4 month time till we're closer to the halving, and like that exuberance is coming back. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. If something does happen, though, if any type of movement happen, I can again see us going to the quick 35, 40, 42 in anticipation of new movements, of new news cycles that come through. But I thought this was a pretty interesting story that even the TA is saying that, hey, this, like, something is about to happen. Like the volatility is about to be high when it comes to Bitcoin. So I see that, and I agree with it as well. Again, it's interesting that, TA and fundamental analysis, they both only give you half the story. So you got to kind of use them together at times to get the best picture. But at the end of the day, this is still an immature market with regulators aiming down sights at it in order to get more funding and payments for their task force and things like that. So something to consider, right? Something to definitely consider. This is definitely a volatile time. I'll say is, if you believe in the technology, it's not really a volatile time. It's just a blip in the radar, right? Bitcoin has still been improving. The network I'm talking has been improving. It's still strong. It hasn't been hacked. So if you actually believe in the technology, this should be a bull signal for you because the technology is working. We're about to have a halving within a year. Supply and demand metrics will come into play and you'll win. Like, bottom line, it is working, the technology. So if you're thinking long term, I would say there's nothing to worry about. Dollar cost average into Bitcoin specific. But if you're thinking short term trade moves, swings, you might need the money here and there, blah, 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 then right now may be a volatile time. So make sure you just dollar cost average. Don't do anything crazy and you should be fine. All right. Bitcoin. This is an interesting one. Bitcoin no longer asset of choice for criminals, former elliptic crypto advisor says. I mean, it's funny that they're saying it's no longer a choice for criminals. It never was, I say. Criminals have moved away from using Bitcoin for money laundering, with stablecoins emerging as an alternative due to accessibility. And this is why, whereas like they keep talking money laundering, the easiest and best way to launder money is still using fiat cash and still using banks, honestly. Like good old fashioned banks, fiat cash, get you a couple of car washes, some laundromats. Come on, we know the deal. We've all watched. I was just watching clips of The Wire the other day and The Sopranos. I don't know. Get you a trucking company and start dumping asbestos everywhere. I'm just joking, but seriously, like Bitcoin hasn't, to me, been the asset of choice for criminals for obvious reasons I laid out with when it comes to the education of the technology, the amount of people who want to actually use it, and then the fact that you're talking about criminals right now. Yeah, you're right. You can't spend Bitcoin everywhere, and even criminals haven't fully adopted it yet. Maybe some of the higher, more sophisticated organizations, but your low level thugs and guys aren't adopting this. So I'm glad that this advisor is actually putting that out there. It says here crime in Web3 is shifting away from Bitcoin to stable coins, and Ponzi schemes remain prevalent. Again, you don't need Bitcoin to do a Ponzi scheme. However, I understand why they're so powerful in the space. According to Elliptic's former head of crypto advisory, Tara Anderson shared the latest insights from the murky world of crypto-related crime during a presentation on the final day of Ethereum or ECC in Paris, addressing a wide variety of ways digital assets are either facilitating crime or being used to launder funds. The presentation drew Web3 crimes insights from Elliptic, Chainalysis, and TRM Labs, some of the biggest out there, with Anderson talking in her capacity as a former employee of Elliptic, having recently left the firm. According to Anderson, Bitcoin is no longer the cryptocurrency of choice for illicit activities or laundering money. As the cryptocurrency industry has matured, the establishment of decentralized finance protocols, mixing services, and stablecoins present new avenues for criminals to explore. And even I'll go a step further to say, once again, a lot of these things you can still use good old fashioned police work to trace back to the user, owner, or whatever. Until they start talking privacy coins, I'm telling you, no one's really using this to try to launder money, skate funds, blah, blah, blah. And I will even go as far to say some of the statistics that they actually have are being skewed by a small number of actors and companies. Think about it. FTX did $50 billion of damage. If FTX is being factored into these equations, this thing is skewed one way for real. Like, it's crazy, the bias in the actual stats. Same thing if you were to include Terra. Literally, if you were to include FTX, Terra, Celsius, just off the top of my head, those three projects alone would skew the data and statistics to say that, hey, we have a money laundering problem or we have an illicit activities problem in this space, when the reality is like, well, we're literally talking about four different people: Alex Mashinsky, Do Kwon, Sam Bankman-Fried, and Allison, right? We're talking about four different actors, which would probably account for like 60% of the illicit activity on chain. So I'm not exactly sure. I haven't did like a deep dive into who they're all, how they're analyzing this, which statistics and data points they're putting in there. But literally, you could shape these arguments and shape these stats to make them look how you want by just using 3 or 4 companies. So that's something I would kind of want to be clear on. But again, when you talk about like widespread illicit activity and criminality, like this isn't the place. It's especially all the task force, which you're about to talk about, all these things going around. Like, this is not the place. The good old fashioned fiat banking and old fashioned scams are the place to do this at. In this space, you have been getting caught as of late. And then again, when you're talking about the small actors, cash is still king. So I'm glad this article came out. It said in 2016, Bitcoin was 97% of illicit volume. And this is what I mean by, hey, if you took a statistics class, you understand how data can be skewed. In 2016, there were literally less than 250, 300, like, okay, max, I would give you 300 cryptocurrencies, right? Like, that people were even talking about. That was in 2016. 2016, people, is when I entered the market. Bitcoin was $370 something, I think $367 when I first entered the Bitcoin market. So we're talking about $360 Bitcoin and less than 300 altcoins. In 2016 to 2022, you have over literally 22,000 altcoins. So I mean, just the fact that Bitcoin dominance has went down, like, these stats to me are like fake as I don't know what. So they're saying it was 90% then, it's 19% as of last year. It's no longer the crypto of choice. I will again argue that it was never the crypto of choice. In 2016, Bitcoin was one of the few projects actually working, right? You have Bitcoin, you have Dash, XRP, Ripple, whatever. Like, you didn't have that many great options out there. You still don't have that many great options now, but at least you have more copycats of workable options. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm glad to see this coming through. They're saying now This is the new narrative. Criminals are going to be laundering through DEXs. It's super easy. It's deep liquidity. It's really good volume. Yeah, but even then, they have to be like extremely intelligent to launder through a DEX because they had to make sure they're using the correct VPNs at all times. They had to make sure the DEX that they're on will actually be able to move the funds that has liquidity. A lot of these DEXs don't have the liquidity. I mean, they're talking about sophisticated scams. We're talking about millions of dollars being moved. Way I'm understanding, we're not talking about $2,000 scams here and there. So when you're talking about that type of liquidity, a lot of these DEXs actually don't have them, or they already have things built into them to where essentially you'll be found out. It's easier to track or trace a person, especially if you're talking about buy orders that don't immediately get filled. If you got a buy order that does not immediately get filled and is linked to an account, that account is not always on the VPN and things of this sort, then it's going to be kind of easier to start tracking some of these transactions. So of course, we'll see what happens. But right now, fiat is still king. Banks are still the best way to launder money. Nothing has changed. You know why banks are one of the primary reasons why it's the best way to launder money? Because banks have something that this crypto sector really doesn't. Humans. Crypto, Bitcoin, and like is trying to use as much technology and AI as possible. It's hard to bribe technology or AI. Either the contract allows you to do something or you can't. But when you're talking banks, you're talking about humans who are valuable and things like that. Like all of literally, I mean, how many banks are in the city, right? You tell me now one of those bank managers aren't having any problems at home, aren't having any problems at work, aren't having any problems anywhere to where if a gang or cartel comes up and says, hey, we got 50 million a month, man, we need your help. And you're going to help us. They're going to be like, no, of course I'm not. Like every bank out there is going to say no. Well, we know that to be false because banks have already done it, like HSBC. And of course, JP Morgan chasing that cocaine shipment, baby. We cannot forget about that. But speaking about banks and laundering money and cocaine shipments, U.S. Justice Department to double its crypto team, target ransomware crimes. To me, I'm not going to go too much in depth. This story is a non-starter. Why? Because it reads just like the SEC story from yesterday. They want more money. Friday, we're going to double our crypto teams, target ransomware. By Monday and Wednesday, we're going to need a few more funds to help that team that just grew. The National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, I can't even believe this is a real team, established in 2021, will be merged with the Computer Crime and Intellectual Property section. Looks like the United States Department of Justice said it will double the number of staff on its crypto crime team established in 2021. The unit will add to its number of acting prosecutors and get a leader. Really quick, I just want to point something out. You all really don't see anything wrong with this? And the fact that it's all taxpayer money is just really what makes me want to cry a tear. In the last 2 years, the government has bolstered the IRS by 83,000 agents, taxpayer money. We're trying to give 2.4 billion to the SEC, taxpayer money. We've already given like I don't know how many billions to a foreign country for foreign aid to fight a foreign war. How many billions? And on top of it, the DOJ now wants to add and double the number of this crime team, which of course will have to get funding to it as well. This is all taxpayer money. And again, as somebody mentioned yesterday, are they failing up? They haven't stopped anything. FTX still happened. Terra still happened. So there's things happening right now that's still going to happen that are bad in crypto, right? So they're not stopping anything. And then B, who is this like ghost supervillain in the digital crypto world that I haven't seen yet, to where you need to hire 83 IRS agents, give 2.4 billion to the SEC, and then have the Department of Justice with their own task force. Who are these criminals and these shadow conspirators in this cryptocurrency environment that needs all of this funding? They have not figured out Wall Street yet. Wall Street continues on a daily basis to break rules and get fined. They haven't figured them out yet. They're throwing all this money to a problem that does not exist. This to me is crazy because instead of hiring the 83,000 IRS agents, giving money to the SEC and Department of Justice, you can literally give that money to Americans or even American crypto companies and help them get to, like they're doing it for money, half of them, right? So give them the money and help them actually build a good product for everyone. But regardless, this whole pumping all of this American taxpayer money into more defense metrics, essentially, oh, we're under attack. The United States is not under attack from a digital point of view or a physical point of view. Like this madness has to stop. We are not under attack to where we need a Department of Justice to double its staff on this crypto crime, like a crypto crime team. And then the SEC, this is getting out. Like, this is getting ridiculous. But again, as I always say, I'm not mad. I know how the gang works. And as long as we just keep giving them our taxpayer money, it is what it is. This is ridiculous. We do not have this much activity going on in this space, and this much negative activity for them to warrant this, unless they're just doing it to get everybody's money, which is essentially what they've been doing. It doesn't matter if you're doing anything good or bad. If you haven't paid Uncle Sam, he's coming for his cut. So you know how it is. If a nickel bag is being sold in the park, I want in. Enough of this story. I'm not about to go into detail about the feds. There's more feds trying to gang up together and get more taxpayer money, and we decide not to give it to them. They're going to come get it. I mean, it's that simple. Really quick, let me look at the comments. Oh, who was that who started off? Smitty Farms, you are a funny man. Smitty Farms said, oh, good, the sound is working. Listen, I actually said the same thing myself when I started talking. I looked to make sure the green thing was bouncing around. What else do we have going on? What's going on, Cliff? Yes, yes. And Cario said he didn't answer Congress, and he definitely didn't answer two podcasters. Wait, did you all have them personally as well, or was this like a group thing? I can't remember. I saw the email. I got to check it out. Humney said technical analysis for crypto does not exist. Like I said, I don't want to crap on it too bad, because where I will say it helps us, like I said, especially if, for example, in two ways. Trends, for one, that like for Bitcoin specific trends are here. Beginning of the new year, January 1st, you'll get a small pump. It's about to be Bitcoin's birthday. You're going to get a pump. Throughout the holidays, you'll get a couple of dips, and you'll get a couple of small pumps, like the day after Thanksgiving. I think the day of or day after is always a little pump. So actually, some nodes you can start to use TA on, right? Like Bitcoin's birthday, top of the year. Like there's a few times where you can kind of expect it. So that is where I would say at this point it helps. And then the second part where it helps is, okay, after we get news, right? So Elon just mentioned Dogecoin. While it's kind of TA like, it's still more fundamental, but it's like if Elon mentions Dogecoin or does something with this, like, you know what I'm saying? If a billionaire mentions certain tokens, you can expect them to pump, right? And then once they start, you can use TA from there to see, all right, we see is going to pump. They mentioned something, this event happened, ETF, BlackRock ETF just went. So we're expecting a pump, but with TA, you can at least say, all right, the pump's more than likely going to be within this range. Now, I'm still with you, Humney. It doesn't, like, it's not the end all be all, especially again, all my favorite, like the ones I like to bring up is 2017. No one predicted it, like the whole year, beginning of that year, 2016, 2017, everyone was expecting Bitcoin. Like once it hit $1,000 at the top of January 2017, the consensus was $5,000 max. And even $5,000, people were looking at you like sideways, like, you crazy, bro. It's not like 5,000 was 100,000 there. So when it broke past 20,000, I was looking at, or 19,600. I'm looking at everybody like, what happened to all that TA? No one's TA had us prepared for a bull run like that. And then on the same token, within weeks, you get to see this crazy dip that happened all throughout 2018. No one saw that coming either. So for me, it's like, I'm not trying to hear TA. No one saw 2017 come or the 2018 dip right after. And that was kind of repeated here in 2021. And then 2022, the dip, technically you could blame that on the bad actors more than you could the market. Because who's to say if FTX didn't fail, Terra didn't fail, Celsius, and all these other companies did not fail, who's to say the price point wouldn't be 60, 70, 80K already right now, right? Unfortunately, we have bad actors that stole a lot of money, so that may have attributed to the price. So that is something I take into consideration. But again, that didn't have anything to do with TA. So I'm with you on that, Humney. Let's see, what else do we have? He said they be dead wrong. I know, right? Truth Belief said looks like a bullish rectangle. All right. Too much for you. Okay. So when that BlackRock ETF gets approved, everything will go crazy. So here's my thing on that too. Shout out to the Bitcoin meetups on Monday again. I was there the other day talking to Rob, and we actually had a conversation about this. And my thoughts as far as the pump, while it definitely should pump, and I think it will, we might even be too exuberant as far as the type of pump, like how crazy it's gonna get. And the reason why is because there's one thing I forgot to add into that equation of ETS myself personally, and that's the bad actors. We're just assuming that once the ETF gets approved, there'll be many more to get approved, and institutions will start buying a Bitcoin and have this war chest for their actual ETFs, right? Backed by Bitcoin. However, that is assuming everyone is a good actor. I think it's clear now everyone is not a good actor. So my thoughts were, what's going to happen with the price when they do start the ETFs and you do have the smaller credit unions and everybody else out there want to get in the ETF game and they're claiming they're buying Bitcoin, their ETFs are backed by Bitcoin and this, that, and other, but they're not actually doing any buying, right? All it takes is for one ETF house to have a bad reputation, something go wrong, and all of a sudden, oh, this shit is fake or something's awry, and that price starts dipping aggressively. So that's the other thing we have to take into account. We are assuming that these institutions are going to play right, do ball, ETFs will buy more Bitcoin. But what if they literally just offer ETFs and never buy Bitcoin? Like, and they just literally pimp it. I mean, they've been pimping the US as far as taxes and everything else. Why stop now? They pimped this on the futures move. They said they were going to come in and tame the market, and I got to give them props. They came in and they tamed the market overnight. So if you don't think the ETFs, because they know too, once we start this ETF thing, the price is going to go bananas. So you think they're just going to let the price go six figures plus and just sit back and just keep buying up to make the price go up higher? Or are they going to try to manipulate the narrative a little bit or even do dirty moves like, hey, let's just offer ETFs and not buy Bitcoin so the price don't go high, yet we still get rich off the paper money. And then when it's time to buy it, we have even more money to buy it all at once. There's so many different indicators and factors that go into it. We're kind of just assuming that this is going to be a green flag and the price is going to go bananas. But again, that's assuming everyone, not even a good actor, but doing what they'll say they'll do, which again, we know is not the case. There's always alternative motives. And again, this is a global game. Who's to say that we do an ETF here in the United States? Something starts going crazy with the price. And then Russia's like, fine, US did an ETF with it. This is now our reserve currency. This is what we're going with. Like, so many different things can happen. We'll just say North Korea don't say this is our reserve currency now. And then the United States say we're not allowed to do Bitcoin ETFs. Why? Because that's strengthening North Korea. Like, there's so many directions this could go, which is why I love the space. It's so exciting, right? So exciting, people. All right, last couple of quick stories. I do got to run again. You want to call in? You got a couple minutes to speak. Hop in, hop off, but the link is in the chat. Hackers compromised Uniswap founder's Twitter account to promote scam. I mean, this to me is a big story because it shows that like no one's safe. You could be a tech founder, a project founder, whatever, and you still can get hit. So Hayden Adams' account released a tweet encouraging his more than 254,000 followers to click on a malicious link, falsely claiming that users' tokens were at risk. So again, this was Hayden Adams, the Uniswap founder. The Web3 Security Alerts channel on Telegram notified followers that his account had been hacked on the 20th. He also tweeted that it had been hacked as far as from a couple of different accounts. Of course, unfortunately, some of the damage has already been done. It was only live a few minutes before being removed, but it looks like identical tweets were also posted. And then again, you get 254,000 followers, and that tweets up for a few minutes. I mean, you can literally capture hundreds of people. So it's unfortunate to see that this has happened. And we do see this happen often through social media and social engineering attacks in general. But again, this to me is just a reminder to keep your crypto safe, good house cleaning things. Make sure you have the password managers that's discussed in the masterclass. Make sure you're changing the password to your password managers. Make sure you're changing passwords to websites every few months. If you're using a password manager, you literally don't have to do anything but open up that website, open up the password manager, do it, like click a button to do a new password they'll invent for you, and then you just save it. So it's literally no work. But to me, this is a good reminder for house cleaning because we can and will get lulled to sleep, especially when you're talking about project founders. I mean, hey, you got a whole project on now. You might not change the password in a couple years or something. Everything's running smooth. I'm worried about the project, right? So again, this is just a reminder for good house cleaning. All right, let's see. Last but not least, Coin Center and Blockchain Association slam unworkable U.S. Senate DeFi bill. That's the one we were speaking on yesterday. Again, I didn't even read the story, but I can pretty much tell you what it's going to be about. I mean, freedom of speech. You can't. The government's literally coming in and saying if you donate to a DeFi platform, you're in trouble. Like, man, like I don't have time for this today. That's 30-minute spiel on its own. But you heard me yesterday. I'm not with the government telling people where they can put their money, especially when they're not putting their money toward anything criminal. Like, the slippery this let me stop sharing this, people. This is beyond a slippery slope. Like, literally, it begins with you can't give money to a technology software platform that no one owns, but people just work on. I'm telling you, it was kind of, we've already saw it. Hey, if you don't like this one presidential candidate, then you're about to get persecuted against. You might get fired from your job. You don't like this presidential candidate, you might, if you don't like this party, if you don't like this Supreme Court ruling, like, people are getting persecuted against right now because they don't agree or like to these things. There's no conversation, no discussions, persecution. So if they're doing that, they're willing to persecute you over putting money toward technology. We're already on the slippery slope. The fact that they had the gumption to even put that out there. You can't donate anybody who got $25 million shouldn't be getting told what to do as far as donating their money to software. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not like they're donating to a DeFi atomic bomb. Oh, wait, humans did that in the United States, right? Like, they're not doing that. They're literally saying, how can we make banking more inclusive and more efficient for everyone? That is what humans are about to start getting in trouble for. So I just want to remind you, this is the slippery of slipperiest slopes, because if you can get that across the board, no, you're not allowed to donate your money to this DeFi platform. Shit, why stop? Let's keep going. Hey, I mean, we already basically got it, but hey, yeah, if you're not voting for this person A or person B, you're not allowed to vote, or you're not allowed to do this. You like it will get crazy, and it's already starting to get crazy. But yeah, Coin Center said the bill is unconstitutional, while Blockchain Association called it incompatible with blockchain technology. Again, crypto advocacy bodies have slammed the newly proposed U.S. Senate bill for what they say is a confused approach to regulating the decentralized finance sector. On July 20th, crypto think tank Coin Center and crypto advocacy group had to sound out. The Blockchain Association released separate statements describing the legislation as a messy, unworkable, and unconstitutional way of regulating DeFi. Yeah, it's a gang. A gang ain't gonna be constitutional. I keep trying to tell y'all, we are living in different times. I know people don't want to admit it because there's so many bootlickers out there. They're gonna be like, "Well, what country is better than? What would you suggest?" It's like, just because we're not allowed to be critical now. It's so funny. But anyway, it passed the legislation will extend new penalties to anyone who controls or makes available application designed to facilitate transactions using the digital asset protocol. Wow. Again, like, this is wow. If you're a coder developer, you're going to be in trouble with mommy and daddy. They will also be required to adhere to anti-money laundering and financial reporting standards. I mean, I'm not about to get it. We talked about this yesterday. I'm glad to see there's industry lobbyists essentially pushing back. Not only is this unconstitutional because software falls under the First Amendment, freedom of speech. I mean, software is words, it's code on the screen. Not only is that crazy, again, people point out here illicit transactions represent a small fraction of the total volume of all digital assets, only 0.24%. So again, less than 1%. So again, not only is this crazy, but to me, this is just the government seeing how far they can kind of take it. And from here, they'll maneuver based on the results they see. But again, I think they can take it pretty far. For them to even actually put this out there is absurd. They're essentially about to crack down. As you can see here, it will be unconstitutional as it will crack down on software developers who, as an of free speech, have a First Amendment right to publish code. So, and again, I kind of went on this yesterday, so I won't go on a tangent here. This is the whole violence debate right here, honestly. This is about people who have the control and don't have the control. People who have the control see their control being threatened by a new financial system. They tried to stop it already through narratives, through blockades, through sanctions, essentially with the SEC and all these task force and IRS agents, right? They're going to keep trying. If you make a dollar from crypto, they're going to be on your head in the next few years. So they're already trying to do these things to stop. It's for shadowy, super hooded, criminal coders, like write those bad narratives. The FUD is only for criminals, for bad guys. It's not real. Or Jamie Dimon is fraud, is fake, is not real. Mark Cuban is bananas. AJ Banga, MasterCard CEO at the time, it's a basket of junk, right? They tried all that and it didn't work. Then what they do, parody, all right, we're going to use it. We're going to adopt a JP Morgan coin. MasterCard all of a sudden wants to do things with it, so on and so forth, right? The government's doing things with it, Fed now, right? First, they try to shit on it. It's fake, it's fraud, it's for criminals. Then that didn't work. Okay, we'll adopt it and try to take it over. Oh man, nobody wants to use ours. I mean, it's the same thing they did with the internet. So now the natural next thing is like, fuck it. Like, what do we say? We got to ban it. Let's start with the DeFi side. They're not going to go straight for Bitcoin and crypto. Let's start with the DeFi side. It's less actors. They like to stay anonymous. So it should be less people to stand up and fight us. And if people do stand up and fight us, those are probably some of the leaders of the DeFi space we can smack down and get rid of. And we won't have this issue again, even though it's technology and it's open source. And there will still be another kid born 20 years from now who would look at all this code that's free online and be like, oh, I just want to keep building on this. But whatever. It's like, it makes no sense at all. It's a waste of taxpayer money. But instead, now they're trying to fully control it by banning it. Here's the flip side. What happens when enough people say no? What happens when enough people say no? You're not going to ban it. In fact, we're going to use it because it allows everyone to not only be involved in the banking sector, but everyone can actually become a bank and they can handle their business and hold their value how they want. Like literally, you have a small number of people right now backed by multi-billionaire companies and institutions who are trying to push this narrative and push now laws to ban new software and technology. And all I'm saying is that when the number on the software and technology side increased to the point if this was food, this would already be over. If this was food and housing, if this was something where it was like, no matter what a human says, if you use this software, you can get yourself, you can print a free 3D house with this software. I made it open source. And as long as you go outside and collect enough grass and materials or whatever, you can print yourself a new 3D house. And in fact, if you use this new software and you throw in some grains or whatever, you can have yourself new food, fresh, and it works, right? Let's just say, for example, if that were the technology, people already buck the system. They would be like, oh, fuck that, I'm getting me a house and I'm gonna get me free food for my family. Like, whatever comes with it, comes with it. But that's not what this is. Technology is hard to understand. There's a slower adoption process. And then they're going after DeFi, which is a smaller segment of people. So again, you can try to step on those people and they won't be too loud, or they are loud, we can still control the narrative, right? We can have it so that if a person argues for DeFi, we get them on the main news channels, we get them interviewed and stuff. And it's like, why are you trying to stay anonymous? Why are you trying to hide from the government? Why don't you want to use American banks? Like I can do this all day, right? You can put the pressure and make the DeFi side of the house look like a bunch of criminals and no good doers, right? That's very easy to do, especially with the narrative the United States has. But I'm telling you, when it gets to the point where people look at DeFi and say that's the only, like for me, I'm gonna say that's the only way I bank because I have my regular banking stuff to pay rent and bills. But for the most part, that's the only way I bank. I love the DeFi side of the house, right? I love it. So once we get enough people who realize, and again, this has to do with the technology too. It's not there yet. But once the technology improves to where your mom and pop can use it, and again, the 15-year-old can get on a DeFi platform and be their own bank, which I hope and encourage it to happen soon, that's when the bucking the system will happen back. Where it's like, I don't care what law you roll in place, brother. I'm going to use DeFi for Bitcoin. Why? Because I can get my one Bitcoin and make it two, make two a few more. I can't do that in any other sector. I can't do that anywhere else. And once you start to get those rewards from that, again, I think there will be enough people to buck the system and say, no, I really don't care what you're saying. We're going to go ahead and go this way. Or, hey, maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a few people. DeFi will become illegal. You'll be taxing all your Bitcoin and crypto, and the show will continue. Who knows? That is definitely a possibility as well. All right, last few comments for our call of the day. Yes, Humney said the beauty of all of it. I tell people, be your own bank. BYOB. There we go. Reno said the same thing, and Cario said, "Hey, I came for the tech. I'm gonna stay for the bank." There you go. Hey, I like that one. I came for the. You know, that might be the best version of myself as well. I came for the tech, but I stayed for the bank as well. So I'm with you on that. Enzo, what's going on? Keno said they said it was fake and fraud, then ran to make their own. That's what I mean. Like, if that's not market manipulation, I don't know. JP Morgan, JP Diamond said, the Dino Diamond said, this is a fraud. This is fraudulent. He said that on stage and sunk the price thousands of dollars and literally came back a year later with his own blockchain and coin. Hilarious. What about Bitcoin Bobby, Robert Kennedy? Will he ever show his wallet? Gary Gensler gotta sort out Bitcoin, officially move jurisdiction to CFTC, and then bang, candidates can accept crypto in November. There we go. I hope it happens, but we shall see. Other than that, that is the show for today. I got to run. Make sure to smash and I can't even know what I'm saying. Make sure to smash that like and share the video. And I'll see you all next week with some more news. Be on the lookout. A lot